Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of A Warrior's Journey to Recovery. Today, we're here with Jeremiah and his wife, Lillea. How are you guys doing today?
Doing well, thank you.
Doing excellent. It's a beautiful day.
It is a beautiful day. So, Jeremiah, can you tell me what branch of the military you served in?
I served in the United States Marine Corps.
And what was your time like in the service?
Time in the service was amazing. It was something I looked forward in doing as a kid and coming from a military family. So it was a way I could earn my privilege of being a citizen and considering this, your land, my land, and being able to appreciate, the liberties and things we have. I got good experience, with some privileges working underneath a warrant officer, Warrant Officer 5 and Gunner Curley, and being a young Marine with a warrant officer at that high billet and being open up to, 30 years of experience through a Marine who's gone to several conflicts and taking under the wing, that was a privilege. And so besides that, opening arms and firing and the parade deck and everything in between, especially the amphibious moments and any kind of swim qual or water training or mountaineering, desert, you name it, the environments, the camaraderie, the people, the sacrifice. It was something that really made me feel like honored to receive the privilege of being an American citizen. So, and also doing it for my sisters and family. So it was just a good, honorable experience of giving to pay forward to this great nation.
Awesome. So did you do any tours while you were in the service?
I did one in 2003. I was deployed with 6th Engineer Support Battalion. I was cross-trained. Originally, I was a diesel engineer and then also cross-trained into nuclear biochemical surveying. So during the time of the deployment, I got to experience some things.
Any burn pit exposure while you were over there?
Burn pits, yeah, if you want to talk about burn pits, our burn pits, per the manual and training where, you take an M16 and you go one M16 wide, one M16 long, and two M16s deep, and then you throw your trash in there, some jet fuel, you burn that, or even just, the fecal matter, we would collect it in a 55-gallon drum and burn that with jet fuel or diesel fuel, but the massive incinerators for the burn pits you're talking about, or you're mentioning, you can see this in the politics and the political arena being advertised and even talked about. Those never came online until August or in 2006 is about when they came online. So 2003, the burn pits we had is, the trash we did have, MREs and some gear, the tents, old equipment. We were ordered also to, just blow up or throw an incendiary grenade into our 5 tons or something if it was not going to be brought back to the United States. Other than that, the toxic exposures I was exposed to would be from weapons of mass destruction and the weapons that were used to invade, and also the countermeasures by the Iraqi Federation Army to, resist our military operation.
Mm-hmm. So were you retired from the Marines, or tell me a little bit about that?
Oh yeah, my service was amazing. I would never have gotten out. I was actually injusticely discharged. Found out. Here's another thing. I received a TBI when I was over there, and I was not really coherent or, I guess, engaged enough. We're talking about, mental health and confusion and stuff, but, now going through this therapy I've been receiving, I guess we'll get to that, but I wasn't aware of what I was exposed to when it comes to political, medical, and just knowing I was an injured Marine, suffering and being ignored. So basically, there's no such thing as a 10% mental health discharge, and that's what I was giving out of the Marine Corps. I was not properly medical separated when I was medically evacuated out of out of Iraq. So I was medically evacuated out of Iraq to Kuwait, and then basically, rather than having decompression when I received, I I guess my unit received orders for retrograde. We all appeared back into Camp Pendleton, and rather than receiving 14 days of decompression, I was sitting in my mom's living room back at home, completely ignored for the biological or the chemical exposures. I had blisters covering my feet and flesh that slothed off. What I've realized now is probably more of could have been a reaction to the uranium, the DU that was out there.
Hmm.
There was, found sarin and mustard ammunition dumps and rounds used against us also. So there's a lot of things that impacted me, and these were all ignored. And I was given a 10% mental health versus a real medical retirement for the injuries I'm still suffering from today. Same thing that was reported on the battlefield, same thing through the 2 years held on medical before discharged
Hmm.
from the military.
So what has life been like for you since being, I guess we'll say quote unquote, medically separated from the military? Tell me a little bit about the things that you suffered with coming home. You've kind of touched on your issues with your skin, the blisters and stuff on your feet. What other symptoms have you experienced coming home that you feel maybe haven't been dealt with appropriately? And what have you done since then to maybe find healing for yourself?
So yeah, that's a big question, and there's a lot. I mean, we're talking about 18, 19 years criminally neglected for medical conditions that the military, the DoD, and the VA ignored. That was actually even advertised, put into order policy by the EPA and CDC, and 18 years later, I'm still photosensitive, having conditions where I become hyposensitive, hyper sensitive to the sunlight. We're talking about blistering rash hives covering the body, depending if it's environmental or food, or even just using municipal sources of water, because there's, who knows what's in the water. We know that's being sanitized, but
Right.
I'm having reactions to that. So over the years, coming home and being told I'm 10% mental health, PTSD crazy, and then not being taken seriously for the sloughing off of the skin or the constant staph infections. Here's another thing, and not knowing that the masking with pharmaceutical drugs such as prednisone, which is a steroid that suppresses my immune system, so it makes me look like Superman. It takes away all the physical symptoms for a moment, but then it doesn't heal the condition, and as soon as I'm done with the medication, it comes back even worse. So trying to show this, improve this, and trying to get medical attention properly to be supported so I can heal from an injury from Iraq that's 18, 19 years now later. I'm starting to receive the proper things, and even to EPA standards, is the hyperbaric oxygen chamber. Before getting to this point, we're talking 19 years, I started this treatment May 4th of 2021. And now feeling the difference, I have hope. I have like what I feel is a success story. But before, like literally the last 3 years, I was drowning in a big, dark swamp of all the red tape under the rug, dark stuff that the government never wants out, or doesn't want people to know the truth of. And honestly, the exposures what I have been exposed to is first Gulf War era, and we're still in the Gulf War. This whole thing has never ended. It's pretty much just ignoring and trying to steer the eyes away from the possible chance of depleted uranium being the number one killer and the number one effect to the veterans, and being told you're crazy 10% for that. I've struggled over the last how many years, almost attempting suicide, learning though, blessing and a curse, that life is good. God loves me. I do have a future. I have of supporting friends and family, this great nation, the honor and the integrity between the peers and the veterans' families, and the history, the tradition, the sacredness between God, country, and core coming together, and literally pulling me out into this last couple of years now here, being treated for everything I need to help combat, or even we're looking at, I feel, as a positive future, 19 years of
Yeah.
hell, and maybe now double, triple that, 7 times fold that, maybe I'll get a long, healthy, lasting life.
Right.
Yeah.
So Lillea, what can you tell us about the things that you've experienced with your time with Jeremiah so far?
Yes, I'd love to speak on that briefly. I have been blessed to live a life with a Marine that is now my husband and that I love with all of my heart. And in the midst of that journey, I've personally gotten to see a lot of the suffering that Jeremiah goes through on a personal level. And just from my observations, I can't speak for him completely because I'm not in his body. But as his wife and as somebody that lives with him and that sees him morning and night, what I notice at the root of the core suffering, when you take all the physical symptoms away, there is this there's this feeling that these Marines, when they have come out, the promises that they were initially given during service and during their training, they come out and they do not receive these promises. And that's where this lack of integrity starts to play a toll on their soul. So they're not being given the promises of the care and the support in the proper medical situations that they deserve.
Right.
And this is because the people who are in charge of these services are not being held accountable for what they promised.
Absolutely.
And unfortunately, as Marines and as veterans in general, they almost feel powerless because they cannot have the authority or the full power to reach those authority figures and ask for what is deserved upon them. So that's kind of the situation that they feel. A lot of the suffering at the core is stemmed from. However, on the flip side, it's actually quite beautiful when you start to see that perhaps we don't need to rely on these government figures for support, and perhaps this is a new age, a new dawn, a new opportunity to start pulling out hope upon ourselves and not rely on exterior figures to come and support us. And now through that faith and through that journey, we've discovered amazing people in our circle, and Dr. Carol Hendricks has been a blessed figure in our lives, and she just has been one of those people who have been able to support us with just the strongest level of integrity that we could have ever asked for.
Jeremiah, do you have anything that you'd like to say about Dr. Hendricks?
Absolutely. In fact, I'd say if I never got here, my first treatment, May 4th of last year, 2021, I would not be alive today. There was no way possible, the condition I wound up in. Not just, being, desperate and left for dead and someone rehabilitating, but the camaraderie, the integrity, the foundation, the people, the belief, the medicine that's coming from everyone supporting Dr. Carroll at the North Star Neurology and North Star Hyperbaric. It's phenomenal. The different treatments you can receive, the observations that are being done, the things that were being ignored. Well, I don't know if intentionally or purposely, but if you have biological exposure or chemical exposure, then your doctor's actually taking that type of testing done to see if you have exposure, which can explain, because by the ADSTR or even the EPA, you go online and then see, okay, this is what jet fuel does to the body. This is what uranium does to the body. This is what tungsten does to the body. This is what actinium. And these are all things that are published, or not published, but produced by the, what do you call it? You say the industrial complex, the military machine that we have. These are armor plate bullets, weapons of mass destruction that you heard about. And these are things that need to be identified, and it'd be stupid not to. And so to have the support, the observation into a different area of why we're sick, not like, oh, you're just crazy. There's counseling, there's different therapies such as infrared sauna and using different laser technologies. There's the hyperbaric chamber itself. There's IV supplementation, which helps the body recover, cellular regenerate. IV chelation, help pull out toxins, even supplementation. And Dr. Tim, with his phenomenal expertise in how chemicals react to the body, it's a powerhouse of a team. The people running the chamber, there's multiple veterans. There's students that come in from universities doing their residency, and they decide to stay or how they can continue to learn more. We're doing chemical analyzing with Great Plains Laboratory to get a proper reading of what kind of chemicals that are found there. And there's the hydroxyisobutyric acid, which is things like gasoline additives, and diethyl phthalates and xylene and styrene, and these are benzenes and acrylamide, percolate, different, anywhere from rocket explosive to styrofoam cups, everything you find on a battlefield.
So I do have a question for you. When you had your analysis done and you got your results back, what percentile were you in?
What percentile? Basically, every single chemical that we've seen, there's anywhere from 10 to 16 different chemicals found on each veteran, and we all went to there, either Afghanistan or Iraq. We all have the same 10 to 16 chemicals, just different times, different amounts. Before I got there, I've had a couple of urine draws and blood tests and hair samples done to show a baseline. And after now a year receiving, in fact, today is the anniversary to my 1 year in hyperbaric.
It is.
Yeah. So today, which
happy 1 year anniversary.
Thank you. Yeah. 2 weeks ago, I think we had results, or not too long ago, and the results came back in, and there was absolute huge reduction in certain chemicals, such as like the styrene, the pesticides, the fuel. These things had significant decrease, but there's also, in consideration of mobilizing toxins that are inside of me, there has been an increase. This doesn't mean like I went out and sat inside of an automotive manufacturing warehouse or next to a burn pit in Afghanistan or Iraq and this came back and now I have more. No, this is stuff that's stored in my body, and as we mobilize, as we detox, as we continue this treatment, especially with the hyperbaric, it's mobilizing these toxins to help, reduce the symptoms that I am suffering from.
And to hopefully push them out of your body. So, Lillea, I know when you and Jeremiah first started dating, one of the worst things that he was dealing with was, of course, his hands and his feet. Can you tell us a little bit about what that was like for you at home? Because in the clinic, when we would see him, we would do our best to assist him with his feet and with his hands and, try to help him get them wrapped and stuff. But for you at home, watching him suffer and seeing him experience that firsthand, what was it like for you to see him go through that? But also, what was it like for you?
Difficult, not easy. Really, it always goes back to the love that pushes through all boundaries and all limitations. And so we always push forward with great optimism, knowing that we finally have, a fraction of the support that we were hoping for. And from that, miracles can happen, and we firmly believe in that. But on a day-to-day basis, it is not easy to directly witness my husband going through the pain and just the chronic suffering that he is under.
Mm-hmm.
And consequently, because I'm his partner and we're in union, as his wife, I feel his pain as well. And so I have to channel the strength within me to combat the suffering. I have to be the strength sometimes, the optimism, the hope that will lead us out of it. And
So she's your optimism and your hope when you have none.
Yeah, and my pair of hands too. I mean,
Yeah.
she literally. It's sad. I don't want to say okay, she's the housewife, and you get the dishes and you get the laundry, but I can't touch the water. I can't touch soap. I can't touch cleansers. So a lot of it has to be done by her, and I rely on her to be just as much as anything for me. Then I can also then do whatever I can to help her.
Right.
It's hard. I see her, and then as a man and a veteran wanting to support and being, it's not like I have the hero complex. I mean, I don't have to prove to her she's already married to me. She loves me, but I want to provide. I want to do things, and simple things like, oh, let's get a garden going, and I can't utilize my hands because they have to be bandaged, or I can't be exposed to the sun, and literally I can't put a post hole digger and go 1.5 feet in the ground when I used to do pound, sandbags like it was nothing. And
Right.
so it's interesting, but we're happy, and we both have a good spiritual foundation. We're both Christian. We look to God and we pray, and we spend a lot of time just seeking the better things in life. And she is absolutely my optimism. She's for me, a symbol from God that I'm gonna make it through this.
Well, you absolutely are going to make it through this. Come hell or high water, because you got two of us here that'll chase you down if you don't.
Yeah, and seriously, honestly, a year ago I could not see a life. I did not. It was done, and I have the most comfort now. It's not like, oh, I'm healed and everything's great, and I wish I could go run 5, 6, 7 miles. I wish I could go to the gym. I wish I could do things. I know that eventually through this treatment that I'm receiving with Dr. Carroll at the North Star Hyperbaric and the support and all the people there and the staff, I'm going to have a success. I'm going to heal. And I do believe in the treatment. I physically have been responding the best I have, I'd say, in several years due to just receiving hyperbaric alone.
Yeah. So my last question for you, real quick, just let our listeners know, we do when these veterans come to us, we do a MRI DTI with NeuroQuant to basically diagnose the TBI that they have received from service, post-concussion syndrome. And it allows us to see the injury. And at the end of their treatments, whenever that may be, we'll do a secondary one to kind of see, what the difference is, from the first to the second MRI, how well your brain has healed, not just your exterior body, but also interior. How would you say when it comes to brain and brain health, have these hyperbaric sessions helped you?
Yeah, my cognition, a year ago, I'd say I could not tolerate certain things to a certain extent. And then even as soon as I can't tolerate them, I was lashing out with twice as much energy or, explosiveness, irrationality, being irrational, just responding like, fight or flight and swinging my arms, not literally, but metaphorically, or even just with my words, like
Yeah.
get away. And now I have this feeling of choice. I have more of a foundation, a more grounding kind of sense. I'm actually getting more sleep. I used to only get 1 to 2 hours in rotation, and I'd wake up 4, 5, 6 times a night. And now I can sleep 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 hours completely with my eyes shut and not wake up. And I didn't have that for years.
So that in itself as a blessing.
Yeah, that's a blessing. So then also, like, I'm not the brain doctor, the neurologist, but now I have like a new passion of wanting to be one because I've just seen the sheer medicine and the practice being done and seeing how successful and how better I feel just, every day. I mean, I'm getting blasted with oxygen, so it might make my brain feel well. And I'm like, I guess I've been told that when I got here, I was a caterpillar in bad shape, and now I'm in my cocoon, I'm wiggling around, and eventually I'm going to be able to fly away and
You're going to be our little
be a
butterfly.
beautiful butterfly. Yeah. But the symptoms, of the hyperbaric, like seeing the skin manifest these, awful, symptoms at a point and then go away. I'm not a neurologist or the head doctor, but I mean, I'm inspired and I wish I could be now because I'm fascinated by this. But, before the depression, the anxiety was at higher levels. Now I have more of a, I feel like control. I can grab myself and move away from the, situation. I feel like I'm able to attend or comprehend things a little bit more. What's scary is I've been catching myself and noticing how I was and how horrible it was, where I'm sitting here with piles of medical records and I can't even put anything together to get some kind of help or compensation or notice, like, and literally I can't leave or move or make a decision because I can't comprehend, what's going on. And now I'm able, to make, I guess, my own personal decisions a lot more rationally. Of course, having help with a family or a caregiver or a partner to redirect and to get me on track. Doctors, you guys, the staff, keeping me in direction. I mean, when I first,
Keeping them in line.
yeah, keeping me in line. But I mean, I could not even get in the car and go home because I wasn't sure what to do with myself. And I've already received 2 treatments for the day, and it's like time to go home. But I couldn't comprehend, like, okay, time to go home, because literally I need someone to walk me out the door, put me in my car, and put my
Right.
GPS on, and now I can do that more myself. But without falling apart getting there.
Yeah.
But yeah. I know that the brain, I guess there was like 56% of white matter working, and it looked like there's like at least 12% not even there, and about another 20 some odd percent that's not, or it's hypoxic. So we're looking at, like, when I look at the images, it brought tears to my eyes because it looks like the battle damage is significant. And what am I only working with, like,
Yeah.
2/3 of a brain or whatever. So, I look forward to seeing the comparisons afterwards. And all I know is that there has been a significant change in my comprehension.
I
And
actually look forward to seeing those images as well because you have
yeah,
come a long way
right.
since I first met you.
Yes, he has.
See, even your wife agrees.
Yeah.
So to kind of wrap it up, I guess my last thing that I would like to ask you for today, to any of our military veterans out there listening to this podcast who are feeling like there's no hope for you, Jeremiah, what can you say to them to let them know that there is hope, there is healing, and that they have purpose, and there's people out here for them that want the best for them?
Yeah. The one thing I just say is, if you believe in God, keep praying, because He'll answer your prayers. That's how I wound up here. You just don't give up. You are a beautiful person that decided to uphold the most highest thing that any person can do for the people, the tribe, the nation, the community. So don't give up, because there's help out there, and there's definitely here in Arizona with the North Star Neurology and North Star Hyperbaric. And, just can't give up.
Keep fighting.
Keep fighting. You're a warrior.
That's right.
And it takes guys like you to help me, and without you, I can't. And it was other veterans that literally, at this moment, like this opportunity, said, "Don't give up."
Well, it's a beautiful thing. So everyone out there listening, your takeaway from this is please don't give up. There is hope, and there are people out here that care. If you're looking for that type of hope or that type of care, reach out to us at North Star Neurology, Dr. Carol Henricks. Y'all have a wonderful day.